the most disorganized American store in the world.
In this lesson, you'll learn about using parts of speech to determine word stress and Frankenstein.
This conversation takes place in the company stockroom.
And it's between June and Cody.
Cody and June are friends and coworkers, and not in front of customers, therefore they'll be speaking informally. Let's listen to the conversation.
So, where do these DVDs go?
In the closet on the left, third shelf from the bottom.
How do you know that? I can't make heads or tails of this system.
It's because I've been working here for 5 years. There isn't any rhyme or reason to it. Just put in the time.
Do you think Big John would get mad if I reorganized things a bit? I mean, it's a Frankenstein. At my last job, I built a system that was end-to-end. It unified the entire inventory system.
I'd ask him first. Will it take a long time to implement?
I don't think so. I doubt it would take more than a week or two.
You should frame your idea around a proposal that will boost sales or impress corporate in some way. He's always looking for improvements that will get him a raise.
But do you think he'll be frustrated if the entire showroom floor is reorganized? I mean, in the end, it would be almost every department.
He'll probably not care too much since he doesn't deal directly with the system or with clients. He just tells us to do everything and we do it. Alana might get a bit riled up though. She doesn't like change.
Which is funny because her hair is a different color every other week.
I know. Okay, so in the dialogue they used the word Frankenstein, and let's talk a little bit about that. What is Frankenstein, Barbara?
Frankenstein is a monster or something unpleasant.
It's a book, right?
Right. Frankenstein was written by Mary Shelley, the wife of the poet Percy Bysshe Shelley, in 1818. The story is told through the letters of the man named Walton, a British explorer.
In the story, we are told of Victor Frankenstein, a student from Geneva who discovers the secret of life.
He collects bones and bodies from graveyards and makes a person which is more monster than man.
In the dialogue, June refers to the showroom inventory as a Frankenstein. She was referring to the idea of a mismatched, monstrous, ugly system that, in its grotesqueness, resembles Frankenstein. Let's take a look at the vocabulary for this lesson. The first word we'll look at is
closet.
A piece of furniture or area of a house used to store things.
Closet. Closet.
Our second word is
third.
Constituting the number 3 in some sequence.
Third. Third.
Our third word is
bottom.
The lowest point or part.
Bottom. Bottom.
Our next word is
rhyme.
Combination of sounds between words.
Rhyme. Rhyme.
Our next word is
reorganized.
Change the way in which something is organized.
Reorganized. Reorganized.
Next is
solution.
A means of solving a problem or dealing with a difficult situation.
Solution. Solution.
And our last word is
system.
Way of managing or organizing something.
System. System.
Let's have a closer look at the usage for some of the words and phrases from this lesson.
In the dialogue, we heard the adjective end-to-end.
End-to-end means complete. This is a phrase used frequently in business. It refers to the idea of going from one end of the process to the other. Could you break this down for us?
End to end.
And one time fast.
End to end.
Excellent. What's next?
Our next phrase is heads or tails.
Heads or tails is an English idiom that refers to the head and tail of some animal. The idea is that you are so confused that you can't even figure out if what you are looking at is the head or the tail of the animal in question.
In other words, you can't distinguish between the head or the tail.
Could you break this down for us?
Heads or tails.
And one time fast.
Heads or tails.
Great. What's our last phrase?
Rhyme or reason.
Okay, so rhyme or reason refers to patterns and usually points to some inability to identify the logic behind a certain system or thing. This is an idiom that has some subliminal meaning as well because of alliteration. There are several R's in this. Rhyme or reason. And the intonation also has a specific rhythm. Rhyme or reason. Da 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 da. Could you break this down for us?
Rhyme or reason.
And one time fast.
Rhyme or reason.
Let's take a look at the grammar point. So Barbara, what's the focus of this lesson?
The focus of this lesson is using parts of speech to predict stress.
In the dialogue, we heard the phrase,
You should frame your idea around a proposal that will boost sales or impress corporate in some way.
okay, so there are many words in English that follow no systematic rules for stressed and unstressed syllables. Beyond that, many of the other words have rules that are too complicated to be useful.
You can sometimes determine where the stress falls in a word on the basis of its part of speech. In other words, recognizing that a word is a noun or a verb can sometimes help you with syllable stress.
In this lesson, we're going to give you some guidelines that will help you predict stress in words. Remember that these are guidelines, not rules, and that they have exceptions.
The first rule we'll look at is about compound nouns. It says, stress the first word in compound nouns more than the second word.
Good examples of this kind of stress are airport, deadline, classroom, software, and laptop.
Notice how the stress is at the beginning. Deadline, classroom. What's our next rule?
The second rule is about two noun compounds. It says that stress often falls on the first noun, or the main syllable of the first noun.
Two noun compounds are words like traffic jam and computer lab. Can you hear that the stress is in the first word? Two other examples would be air pollution and vacuum cleaner. What's our third rule?
The third rule is about verbs versus nouns. It states, stress the first syllable in nouns and the second syllable in verbs.
So this one is compare and contrast. My favorite example are the words conduct and conduct. Conduct is a noun and has the stress on the first syllable. Conduct is a verb and has the stress on the second syllable.
Other similar examples are present and present, convict and convict, produce and produce, makeup and make up. That last one actually is two words, but the idea is still the same.
Now we're going to discuss the ate suffix. Somewhere around 1000, English words end in the ate suffix.
These verbs are common in scientific, academic, and business contexts, and they have predictable stress patterns.
So with this, we're going to give you examples, ask you to identify the rule yourselves. We'll give the rule at the end, if you're wondering.
So our first two words are exaggerate and innovate. Based on these two words, we can say for sure that the stressed syllable isn't the ate syllable.
Our next example words are associate and integrate. These two words help us to see that it isn't the second to last syllable either.
Lastly, we have the words procrastinate and subordinate. Were you able to guess the rule?
We don't want to leave you in too much suspense, so the rule is that you stress the second syllable before the suffix.
For example, the word graduate has three syllables. Graduate. So according to the rule, the stress lands on the gra, and we get graduate. The second syllable before the suffix is how the rule functions. So that just about does it for today.
Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for listening.
Bye. So, where do these DVDs go?
In the closet on the left, third shelf from the bottom.
How do you know that? I can't make heads or tails of this system.
It's because I've been working here for 5 years. There isn't any rhyme or reason to it. Just put in the time.
Do you think Big John would get mad if I reorganized things a bit? I mean, it's a Frankenstein. At my last job, I built a system that was end-to-end. It unified the entire inventory system.
I'd ask him first. Will it take a long time to implement?
I don't think so. I doubt it would take more than a week or two.
You should frame your idea around a proposal that will boost sales or impress corporate in some way. He's always looking for improvements that will get him a raise.
But do you think he'll be frustrated if the entire showroom floor is reorganized? I mean, in the end, it would be almost every department.
He'll probably not care too much since he doesn't deal directly with the system or with clients. He just tells us to do everything and we do it. Alana might get a bit riled up though. She doesn't like change.
Which is funny because her hair is a different color every other week.
I know.